Hello and welcome, audience. This is fun. We are talking to a very talented youngster just out of school, a graduate. He studied integrated studies. Is that how you
Mhm.
say that, Keith?
Yep. Yep.
But before we turn over and we introduce Keith, thank you, Father. Thank you for the day. Thank you for the opportunity to be here, to have another great conversation, to learn about these young, talented theater, film, television, this whole world of entertainment. It's amazing. And it's not an easy world to set out in. I know that. And you have to do a lot. So before we do that, again, thank you, audience. Welcome. Means the world that y'all are here. And let's just be excited to listen. And if you think of someone that Keith should connect with, someone that could benefit from his story, um, text, call, email, all the things that you always do. So here we go. Keith, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Oh
Thank you
my
for having
gosh.
me.
Okay. Another secret, audience. Keith is one of my amazing, talented, handsome, kind, beautiful hearted nephews. And it's such a gift to have him here. So, Keith, let's hear about it. What's going on since you've been out of college? Tell us how you get going. What do you do? How do you support yourself?
Wow. Well, that's a whole lot of storytelling. But after college, I went to Texas State. That's up in San Marcos, about 30 minutes out of Austin. After graduating from there, moved back to Beaumont. So I'm in the Houston area now. Working currently with Space City Home Network for their TV production, doing audio for them. And just getting a feel for the indie filmmaking market and film production in the Southeast Texas area in general. Because it's a little hard it's hard enough to establish yourself in film, but it's hard enough to establish yourself in one area in Austin, in my case, for I think it was 3 or 4 years I was there, and then move back to a different area with whole different group of filmmakers. But it's been really fun because my friends live here, they're into film. So it's been super easy to find stuff to keep going. And not even just that, stuff that keeps me creatively fulfilled. That's been, I think, what's really kept me, I guess, to put it in your words, what sustained myself here in Beaumont and in the filmmaking world in general.
Well, first of all, the audience, if you don't know this, all roads lead to Beaumont. Let's just start
Yeah,
with that.
yes, they
I mean,
do.
it's odd, but it's true. Uh, Keith, so the indie market,
Right.
tell us exactly what that means.
So what that means is indie has a pretty flexible definition when it comes to film production, but
Right.
really what it means is you just don't have a big studio commissioning your work. Usually it's passion projects, sometimes commercials, anything that would be considered non-union, which is to say, SAG-AFTRA, for example, is the Actors Union, or the Directors Guild of America is another one. If people on set aren't required to be part of those unions, it's probably an independent production. And that is to say, it usually falls within a very low budget tier in terms of resources you have available.
Let me ask you a question. Does this fabulous billion-dollar, market that's opening up here with Matthew McConaughey and
Right.
all those that are bringing, Texas is the new Hollywood, I guess. Um, will that help you and all you young filmmakers?
Yes, absolutely it will. Not only is so what that is mostly affecting is tax incentives on film production right now, which is to say, the more money you spend on a production in Texas, which is creating jobs for filmmakers and creating opportunities to be a part of the Texas economy in a creative way. The more money you spend on that as a production, the less the government takes back in the form of taxes. Um, and that is just all around good for everybody. They're not really, I mean, as far as I'm aware, they're not missing out on too much on the taxes because of the boost you get in the economy from how many jobs it's creating.
Sure. And the next question is, it seems to me that when you dive in to this industry,
Mm-hmm.
you pretty much have decided that you are going to create on your own and find others that are in the industry. I know you, and congratulations, have just signed with a new agent.
Thank you.
And that is so wonderful because I know that's not easy to
Yeah.
find an agent. So congratulations on that. I know it's going to be, I just am so excited about all the things I know you're going to do. As you, and I learned this from people in Hollywood, hurry up and wait
Yeah.
for that to unfold. You will be working within the industry and learning all the different parts of the industry so that you can create your own team, if you will,
Yes.
correct? Because you like to write, you like
Mm-hmm.
to act, you have done some directing. I know I just saw a fabulous sizzle that you have created, and we'll put links to all those things for everyone to see. It just seems to me, and I wonder if the audience has recognized this when I'm a moviegoer, but if you stay to watch the credits,
Right.
so often, so many groups are working together on the next
Right.
and the next film and the next film. And,
Absolutely.
because you create these fabulous working relationships, right?
Yes.
And they are formed early on.
More often than not, I mean, if you go to film school, more often than not, your fellow students are who you'll be working in the industry with for practically the rest of your career. Because that'll usually be a small team too. For instance, speaking of the sizzle real quick, Skyward, I'm planning to go into production for that. We're funding right now, but I'm planning to go into production for that for the short film in March,
Right.
and we'll be traveling to New York State for a few scenes in that short film. And this team is small enough that it's reasonable to be able to fly the whole team out to New York rather than um, fully sourcing the team from New York. And that is to say, not that we won't be working with New York people, but the team, your core team, is usually so small that you can and will take them everywhere with you. Because your communication is so tight, you've been talking with one another since school, presumably, maybe before school or without school at all, if you didn't attend film at college. Um, but it's all about communication and the code that you create with your friends, what you like to make and what they like to make. Usually, because you started together, your vision will align a little more, and that's one of the most important parts in getting a film off the ground. There are so many snags in film production that can lead to the film not happening. And one of the biggest ones, you see it all the time, especially in bigger studio movies that hire people out from all over the country, is that it'll go in a different direction or just flat out stop because of creative differences. And if you can't resolve those differences, or if you're not on the same page, then in a creative field, there's not really much room to move forward.
So when you begin filmmaking together,
Yes.
you're going to work together because of alignment
Yes.
and
Alignment, and you're probably
trust.
friends. Like you probably started working together because at some point you guys talked and hung out a little bit.
So your group,
Mhm.
is your crew a group of five, a group of
So
3, 10?
I think in total, the people I really love to work with, I think totals out 20 or 30 people, but
Wow.
never all on the same set at the same time.
Right.
Usually it's in groups of like 5 to 7, depending on the size of the production. And all they'll contact me or I'll contact them, and it's just who's available at what time to work on what, and that's usually what determines a specific productions team. But it is true, your network or your overall group of people you work with will most likely stay with you for the rest of your career.
That's wonderful. So, it's interesting, and our audience of all ages, right?
Mhm.
I have a question. When did you start thinking about the entertainment industry and acting and writing and directing? When did that love hit?
Well, see, here's the thing. It's so intrinsically tied to storytelling that to answer that question, I'd have to say the first time I heard a story, which is, it was probably like 1 year old, and I was just forming a thought for the first time, and I heard a nursery rhyme. But really, the movie that really got me into movie making specifically was ironically an animated movie, How to Train Your Dragon, and I really loved that. It spawned a love for dragons in general, and it spoke to me personally in my life experience such that I wanted to do that for somebody else because it felt like it was a beautiful experience for me seeing not maybe myself on the screen, but maybe just somebody who thought like me and moved around the world like I think, um, that I wanted to echo that profoundness in work of my own. Now, as a kid, I would have told you that I want to be an astronaut because that was the cool answer, and it was truly awesome to watch the space shuttle and all that.
Good.
But what little kid me didn't know is that what he really only wanted to do was make a film about space shuttles. Um, and I would say those have always been intertwined. In fact, I was originally going to go to college. This is a little fun fact. I was originally going to go to college for aerospace engineering, and I passed all the way through calculus 3. I was doing just fine, but I hated it. I hated it so much. I could not stand it. Um, and
I'm
I had
sorry to
always
laugh, but that was
planned,
good.
yeah,
You realized it.
exactly. And I had always planned on going with a minor in film production or theater or something. And I just knocked aerospace out, moved that one position up, and here we are.
And here we are. So you've always, well, not really. So you switched because you hated your major and you said,
Specific
okay,
career wise, yeah, I switched
I am
because I
going to
couldn't stand
move into the
aerospace.
entertainment world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so you were able to do that through integrated studies, and
Yes.
then you were able to do the theater and film and acting and all the fabulous classes.
Right. Yeah.
And you have worked on many sets, I know 30 plus sets.
Right.
And I think it's no coincidence, right, that you're working now in this television production world and you're learning that, you're learning, you never know what you're preparing for.
Right. Yeah.
And I think it's beautiful. So the plan will be you will continue to work in the field of entertainment anywhere you can grow and learn.
Right. Yeah.
create these connections, more than likely meet people that could work on your sets or you could work on their sets,
Indeed.
and support one another in creating these films. And the way y'all raise your money is you create your sizzle and you put it out there and you see if anybody wants to support that way.
Right.
What do your mom and dad think about this career?
I think they've been really supportive of it. I don't know how to put it into words how much it means to me that they haven't really questioned it. I mean, they'll say occasionally the tried and true get a real job, but that's for they never expect that real job to be where I stay. It's always meant in a you need money to put food in front of yourself right now. So, but like beyond that practical side, they've always been really supportive of the idea of me being in the arts and entertainment in general, and that just has it's helped me a lot. It's not like because it's helped me a lot emotionally because I know I am putting myself in a not always financially viable career.
You
Um,
know what? Not Bottom line is, doesn't matter what career you put yourself in, that's always a chance.
yeah,
So
yeah, that's
I'm
very
saying
fair.
do what you love because you'll get better and better at it.
Absolutely, and that's the real thing
Master your
about it. I
craft,
think they see
the,
how
the money
passionate
will
I am.
come. Yeah,
Yeah,
the money will come. And
yeah,
you just live frugally and continue to create and learn and grow. It's amazing how that works out because if you're growing your God-given gift, which brings up, and I don't want to go too long, I'm checking because we'll have another conversation. I have always considered you one of the beautiful examples in our family of a, an incredibly strong faith.
yes. Thank you.
And is that still what grounds you? And is that still the main thing in the center of your life that then everything else is take off from that?
Right. I would say so. I certainly hope so. I know there's times in life, and I've heard, and in my life in general, where things get a little bit gray or foggy, but I've always strived to, even if I can't see like the lighthouse of God or whatever, I can always remember where it was and keep heading in that direction until I see it again. That's what I consider a core part of myself. If nothing else, the golden rule of treat everybody how you want to be treated is, I think that is the center of how I conduct myself and how I want to be on a film set and how I want to impact the world. I want to show people that you're not alone, and that both means that you're not alone, that there's always somebody there for you, there's always somebody around, and b, you are not the only one on earth. Not everything revolves around you. You have to treat people with respect as well, because they are just as much themselves as you are you. And that going to church and hearing the gospel and talking about God like this, and in whatever way it is brought up, it helps me stay on that track, I think. So I like to consider it, my core, even if I'm not sure if I always fulfill that. But I think that's a healthy doubt. I think you should always be making sure that you are living up to your own standards a little bit, because otherwise, who's going to keep you accountable?
Yeah, that takes that checking in.
Hmm.
Well, I think that the discipline And one of the reasons I'm interested in this question is because as a young professional, so often, you grew up and I know just because I know, because,
Right.
I know our family, that you grew up with a wonderful discipline of going to church and hearing the word and having those conversations. And then, people graduate and they go to school, and hopefully there's a somewhere there. In your case, it may have been a Catholic student center or whatever it may be, and you hopefully it's just interesting. It's a very natural pattern to fall out of when you
Right.
leave home. And I don't know that everyone realizes or has the opportunity to ground and to keep that. It's interesting. I don't think I really understood until I was much older how important the discipline of faith.
Mm,
And it's really, it's an order. It's like anything else. If you want to grow a muscle, you exercise it.
right.
If you want to get to know someone better, you spend more time with them.
Right.
So to get to know God, Father, Son, Holy Spirit better, be in the Word more, dive deeper into the stories, dive deeper into those that, Jesus walked with, if you will. Anyway, I'm asking that because as a young adult, and I always thought you were such a beautiful example of having a discipline of faith in your life. I wondered if, so now you're out of school and you're moving in to this entertainment world, which it can be lost there, but it can be lost anywhere.
Right.
I'm wondering, do you continue that discipline in order to continue that relationship in order to grow your other relationships? Do you still practice that discipline of faith?
Yes. Yeah. As much as I can. I it's going to be bad for me to say as often as I can to going to mass, but sometimes I'm in transit in Austin for 4 hours and I can't make it to the church in time for one of the 3 scheduled masses that day.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
sometimes I can't make it to mass, but I go every Sunday that I am able to go to mass, because it's such an important part to me, part of me.
yeah. Yeah, I know it's just very interesting, and it's not, Lord knows, you wanna hear some in and out of discipline, and whether that be in faith or in any area of my life, and probably it was one I was out of that discipline, that the other areas of my life were not thriving, or I was not as accountable, or I was not,
Right,
um, pleased with, let's just say, wasn't pleased with my decisions, or not in the present moment, or not grateful enough, or all the things. And I just find it, looking back, knowing and imagining the difference had I practiced that discipline of faith every single day
right, right.
in the word, ground in this day. Can't believe I have it. Thank you for it. I need direction and wisdom from you.
Yes,
Your
absolutely.
strength, your gifts open me up to know who to speak to and who I'm going to connect with. Who am I going to make a movie with? As I pull up to this new television production job, I want to learn everything I can, because you don't know who the messengers are and you don't know
Right.
who you're being connected to. You just don't.
Yeah,
And uh, I just, anyway, I'm throwing that out there. Number one, just as a question for my, selfishly on my part, I want to share that with you youngsters, because as you move forward with these hopes and dreams, you know, I'll tell you, any question you have, it's in the word,
right,
right there. And as long as you're asking, he is going to be answering. And it's so excited to have that hope, biblically referring to confident expectation.
right.
And Anyway, thank you for letting me ask those questions because,
For sure.
you know, just so the audience knows, there was a time that I thought this was going to be our priest.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Several
trust you.
people did, but that's not. I
No,
never
and I
got called
know.
to be a priest. I
Uh,
never.
That's right.
Not
I know, I do. I realize that. However, that's why I'm so interested in your day to day now in that because always
right.
you can't believe what an example you have been to so many of all ages. And I want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you. That's really touching. And in fact, I'll tell you, I thought I was going to be a priest there for a while because I don't. Everybody was saying stuff like that, and just everybody's always talking about what really made me not be a priest was everybody talks about there's this moment in your life when you know that you're supposed to be a priest. And my moment that I knew was I switched to film production. So being a film person feels how I imagine the feeling of knowing you're supposed to be a priest, what that's like. So, I mean, that could change. Obviously,
Right,
people
right.
can
And
become
that,
priests at 40, but
well, of course. And that's great. But I think that's wonderful. You knew because you had this knowing
right,
that
yeah,
this was the path. Well,
exactly.
the other thing is, it certainly is a choice and a path that you can spread God's light and love
Yes, absolutely.
to the masses.
Yeah, because a priest is just one job of many in a faith like Catholicism. You
Well, it's a vocation
right.
that, well, can go there, but we won't go on down that road. But it's just so incredible. And getting back to what you did choose and what you have chosen, which is this beautiful world of film. I'm so looking forward to observing and hopefully, who knows, connecting and just watching this unfold for you because I know, Keith, whatever you choose, and because you've chosen this, it's going to be wonderful.
Thank you so much.
It's gonna, and of course, in God's perfect timing. And just to throw that out there, stay, make that connection first, and you watch how everything else falls into place. And I have to say, I say that not as a, this is what you should do. I am saying that from a place of when I did not do that, I can give you the history of my life of when I did do that and when I did not do that.
Right.
And you young professionals have such an opportunity to grow in a manner that will blow your mind if it's with him first. I mean, seriously. And you've got a lot of runway ahead of you, of course, God willing, right? But
Yeah.
thank you for being here. And we'll put all the ways for people to follow and to watch your sizzle and to donate if they want to follow along. And we'll have another conversation on the show. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for this wonderful conversation. It's been really nice being able to talk to you and talk about what I love doing.
Ah, right back at you. Selfishly wonderful for me. Thank you. Audience, always. Thank you, Father. Thank you all so much. Hook 'em, and I can't wait till we have our next conversation together.